So we're going to kind of take a switch here and jump into sort of the anterior elements. Um, this was sort of a game changer in the world of spine. We had spine surgeons sending a lot of the axial back pain to us. The fusions that were happening that weren't successful, although there were definitely some successful ones. But the mantra in the past was, axial back pain, treat the facets, or try an SCS that sometimes worked, sometimes didn't. And then this technology came about, where we know that patients develop disc issues early on in life in their 30s and 50s. That transitions into these modic changes and then can become spinal stenosis later on. So that degenerative cascade, this procedure is sort of there to catch it early. So again, there's always a big argument between discogenic pain, treating the discs versus treating the basivertebral nerve with the modic changes. But again, great data behind the procedure. They have 5-year data, 10-year data coming soon. Randomized control trials, which is a big thing for level 1 randomized control trials. And the procedure has a pretty safe safety profile, which is also big. When we kind of tell the patients about the procedure, we tell them it's implant-free, no incisions, recovery is pretty quick, and that's why it's sort of changed the whole paradigm on how we treat this axial back pain. If you want to add.
Yeah, perfect. So it has been a real game changer to be able to proceed with this procedure. You need to have the description of modic change on MRI. So either modic type 1 or type 2. So type 1 is a refresher. So it will be hypointense on T1, so modic type 1 will be hyper and hyper. So both on T1 and T2 imaging, modic type 2 will demonstrate swelling, so basically edema within the vertebral, within the end plates. You're looking on physical examination, those patients will present more frequently with anterior column pain, so they will be having difficulty sitting for a long period of time, bending forward, having difficulty with transition. In comparison to discogenic back pain, it has been demonstrated that vertebrogenic back pain will be more central, although it can creep a little bit more on the side, but typically is a little bit more of a centrally located pain. So those patients will be able to, with the evidence of imaging and the clinical presentation, to proceed with basivertebral plexus ablation. There's some groups, such as in my practice, we'll be performing also a discogram or an anesthetic discogram to confirm that this is the pain generator as well. Other important thing to know on imaging, the larger the modic changes are, so if you have a very large modic type 1, so lots of edema within the end plate, those patients tend to do better with BVNA. If you have presence of facet joint fluid, this is a factor that indicates that you may have some posterior element component as well. So this has been demonstrated as well. So those patients may benefit from the basivertebral plexus ablation, but may require also some facet rhizotomy afterwards. So we'll continue with the demo here.
Yeah. So we already kind of set up the view. We take an oblique view, have that facet shadow at 50%, or sometimes less or more, depending on how the pedicle sort of kind of elucidates itself. So this one here, we're treating L4 vertebral body. We're already on the midline of the pedicle. The biggest thing here is the same mantra with vertebroplasty and kyphoplasty. Don't want to breach the medial border of the pedicle. That's a no-no until you're in the posterior wall of the vertebral body. So we've already got purchase here on the model. We're at mid-pedicle here. Our lateral view shows us, that's our AP mid-pedicle. And then our lateral view shows us that we're kind of even across the board. So with this device, we have, from the Intercept device from Boston Scientific, there's a beveled needle and a diamond-shaped needle. I almost exclusively use bevel just to give myself that directionality of, if I'm getting too medial, I can turn the needle outwards. And turning the needle outwards will get me deeper without going deeper, but still get me across midline. So right now we're kind of even, but just to be safe, I'm going to turn the needle outwards, and that way I can still kind of make my trajectory towards the vertebral body. There. So we're right at on the lateral view, we're right at the medial border, or sorry, the posterior wall. And then on the AP view, we haven't breached. But now if we want to get a little bit more aggressive, we can turn the needle again and dive, and then we'll go back to lateral. So we'll go a little bit deeper there, just kind of down. And again, with the directionality, you can kind of get the needle where you want it there. And again, so now we've gone through the posterior wall. We'll check an AP one more time. And so we're through the posterior wall and just through the medial border now. So we're still even, Steven, with where we want to be. We'll go back to lateral now. And then we're just going to go a little bit further in. Get you there. So a little high, but this is about where we would do a tool exchange. Kind of take out the needle there. And then we have this curved stylet. Could show it here, right? So right now, the actual curved cannula is covered, but if we were to bring this up, it would come out. And so what we do is we do a tool exchange, bring the cannula in, the J stylet, and kind of drop it there. Okay, so it's sitting there now. And then what I'll do is I'll bring this gear wheel up, lock this in. Okay, we'll take a picture there. And then click that in. So you can see the J stylet just kind of creeping out from the cannula there. So in my opinion, we're a little high, so I'm actually directing the J stylet downwards and medial. And so we'll hold on to this. And you can see us making some headway here. Going down. Down some more. And then so it doesn't dip too much, I'll just kind of change the trajectory again. Picture there. And so now you can see that it kind of turned back on itself, but we're still towards the posterior wall, which is what we want. And we'll check how far across midline we are here. And we're already across. We can take one more tap here if we want. There, so now we're definitely across. We're still posterior, so this is where we will bring the gear wheel down. And pull the J stylet out. Okay. And then we insert the probe here. And then we also want to uncover this, so we'll bring the gear wheel back down. We'll take a picture there. And so we want these, the two prongs, so you see a light one and a dark one. We want that to kind of straddle the spinous process there. So a little bit there. So we're pretty close there. And that's where we would turn on the ablation. If it's a targeted ablation, we do 7 minutes at 85 degrees. And if we feel like we're a little off, we still have the option of doing the 15-minute lesion as well. Either way, the results are really good. Patient selection is big again. You want to make sure if they're older patients, you really want to make sure that you've eliminated the facets or spinal stenosis as a big problem. If they're younger, the likelihood is that they're having more disc-related issues, including these modic changes on their MRI if they've advanced. But we know that modic is sort of a late finding on these MRIs. So we want to make sure that we're capturing these patients. You can, if you're really, really not sure, like Dr. Clerk said, you could do a discogram. We don't do as many here, but all in all, if you know a person has pain, the physical exam correlates. This procedure, like I said, has a really good safety profile. Pretty easy to do and get the good results from it.
Perfect. Do you want to show the lateral one?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
So there we are.
Maybe just a note here, just in terms of positioning of the anterior lateral, anterior posterior depth of the ablation. So you want to be, between 30 and 50% of the AP dimension of the vertebral body. So we're about at 30%. This is perfect. And you want to be about 50, the 50-yard line between the superior end plate and inferior end plate, so right in the center. So excellent positioning here. The time of ablation, yeah, most of the literature is at 15 minutes, but there's more and more push, obviously, to decrease the ablation time. It's an ablation at 85 degrees Celsius. Yeah, there's interest and more data toward shorter ablation time. Obviously, this makes a significant difference in the procedural time. So this is we're interested to have more follow-up on this data in the upcoming years as well.
And so we're going to pivot and also demonstrate a different system for BVNA. So we'll work on that, and then we'll have questions after we do that.